Hello, my name is Lydia Yang, and I'm going to talk about monism and its influence in the movie Star Wars: A New Hope. Star Wars was created by the infamous George Lucas in 1977 and begins with a long intro. You know, this one. For those who couldn't read that, I'm here to be your guide. So basically, there's this evil Imperial force that is hunting these rebels with their ship called the Death Star, because the rebels want to free the world from this Emperor's cruelty and tyranny and create a whole new world of freedom and justice. Does this kind of worldview sound familiar to you? Anyway, one of the main Imperial leaders by the name of Darth Vader, who is this black mysterioso with the deep voice, captures Princess Leia, who is leading the rebels, and both him and General Tarkin try and make Leia tell them the location of the rebel base and the stolen plans to the Death Star. When she doesn't say, her planet is destroyed by the Death Star's powerful weapon, and she is sentenced to death. But before that, meanwhile, the Imperial forces eventually track the plans to being held by these two familiar androids, R2-D2 and C-3PO, who wind up on the planet Tatooine, where they meet Luke Skywalker, our other main character, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And after some interesting meetings and death experiences of poor Luke's uncle and aunt, they go to the spaceport Mos Eisley and require the help of smugglers Han Solo and Chewbacca, and they all embark on this quest to bring the plans to the rebel base and unexpectedly save the princess. And this is all going splendidly to plan as they get captured by the Death Star and fight their way out, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, which, spoiler alert, is killed, and the others escape, making the way to the rebel base and planning how to destroy the Death Star, which they did eventually after the deaths of literally all the other pilots, and Luke trusting the Force is the one to blow up the Death Star and returns back with Han as heroes. You know, a job well done. However, you might be wondering, wait, what is this Force you're talking about? Well, I shall tell you, but first, let's get into a little of what monism is. So what is monism? Monism is the view where everything is considered to be a part of one being. So we are all, in the grand scheme of things, unified as a whole, despite our differences, by a single concept that's within everything. In the movie, the Force is our concept, as Obi-Wan shall kindly explain for us.
Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force.
The Force?
And the Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
So the Force, as Obi-Wan Kenobi describes, is this energy field, which gives the Jedi, which are the guys who wield those really cool lightsabers, the ability to do neat things like crushing people's throats or controlling people's minds. However, this field also encompasses everything and everyone and helps control our actions. It's a part of all things, and we are all under its power. However, there are a few who challenge this idea, some of whom being the guys on the Death Star, which includes General Tarkin, which is the man you saw before. It was their belief that their new and improved ship was the most powerful thing to exist, since it could destroy a single planet and so place it as their idol of godliness, as seen here.
Technical data they've obtained.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fort.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Enough of this. Vader, release him.
As you wish.
So as you can see, Darth Vader objects to their thinking and says that the Force is the most powerful and no ship can ever comprehend or come close to its power. This is key here because it shows how even though Darth Vader is the antagonist and is bent on taking down the rebels and claiming ultimate power, he, like our protagonists, also believe in the Force being Monism's description of the One, or the ultimate substance that makes up everything and is all-powerful. And indeed it was, for the people on the Death Star who thought so highly of their ship found themselves either literally tortured by its existence or the ship's explosion in the end of the movie, proving its mortality. Another view that poses the Force is Han Solo.
You don't believe in the Force, do you?
Kid, I've flown from one side of this galaxy to the other. I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything. There's no mystical energy field controls my destiny. It's all a lot of simple tricks and nonsense.
His belief centers around the Force never making any sort of impact in his life that changes his view on things, which kind of takes on this kind of secularist thinking of what I know and see as true, and there's no mystical force that reigns over my life. Therefore, I'm right. And it's important to know, though, that even though Han Solo keeps this mentality even towards the end, he was still willing to not let this perspective get in the way of his friendship toward Luke. Now, Obi-Wan, like Darth Vader, was as much into the whole Force concept and fully embraced it, for it was his main belief that Luke and himself were on paths that will eventually lead to being one with the Force. What this entails, especially towards the end, is in learning and following the ways of the Force, Obi-Wan reached a point of enlightenment where he allowed himself to die because it was his destiny, and he felt he had reached that final stage of ascension, which is becoming the Force, as he talks to Luke from that beyond. And it was his hope that Luke will also reach that stage as well. So it seems for the most part, the ones whose accept the Force as the main law are the Jedi, or the evil Jedi like Darth Vader. Most everyone else shows different worldviews. However, the Force is not a completely disregarded fact. The term, "may the Force be with you," is seen by those saying it as a way of saying, "may God be with you," or "good luck, you'll need it." It's more of a sign of good luck than really acknowledging its play on the world. For as you might know, everyone has their own worldviews and sees things differently. Now, I won't go into too much detail about all the different views, however, I will talk at least a few of them that I noted. I mentioned Han Solo and how he didn't believe in the Force, but rather he trusted in his own abilities, and even states here how he is in control of what he does, as seen.
You're gonna find yourself floating home.
Look, your worshipfulness, let's get one thing straight. I take orders from just one person, me.
It's a wonder he's still alive. Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of...
So there's this clear point in existentialism where he controls what he does, and it's up to him to make his own paths in life. And as I showed before, Han Solo mentioned how he had seen many things, and nothing that would really sway his thinking, and implies that this chaotic life held no meaning except his own. Now, C-3PO, if you don't remember, is this yellow android from the beginning, on the other hand, has what you might call having a passive nihilistic view, which is when one comes to face with a situation where things are pointless and succumbs to that despair until realization of belonging to something kicks in and it finds meaning in life again. So throughout the movie until toward the end, C-3PO described everything as pointless and wished to die or succumb to the fact that everything is doomed.
Are you sure this thing is safe? How did we get into this mess? We seem to be made to suffer. It's our lot in life. I've got to rest before I fall apart. My joints are almost frozen. What a desolate place this is. It's much too rocky. I've just about had enough of you. Be malfunctioning within a day, you nearsighted scrap pile. No more adventures.
Eventually, in the end, however, from the friends he made along the way, he found meaning again and had a more hopeful view than before. Now, the other android, R2-D2, also showed a little of his own perspective, according to C-3PO, where he was determined to seek out Obi-Wan and would pursue his mission in seeking out his master. Even though things seemed hopeless and not worth it, R2-D2 is what you might be calling taking a leap of faith in his own way. This takes on an element of Kierkegaardian ethics, and displays R2's faith in succeeding this mission, despite the odds. Now finally, this last view is more or less a small brief one, but I think it's fun to note exactly what you think this viewpoint is centered around.
It all around about 0200 hours.
Now be careful, R2. You made a fair move. Screaming about it can't help you.
Let him have it. It's not wise to upset a Wookiee.
But, sir, nobody worries about upsetting a droid.
That's because a droid don't pull people's arms out of their sockets when they lose. Wookiees are known to do that.
I see your point, sir. I suggest a new strategy, R2. Let the Wookiee win.
Now, if you haven't guessed it already, this little comment is very Darwinian naturalistic because what Hans is basically saying is, let the strong win, or in this case, Chewbacca, because their survival has a greater chance than that of something weaker, like an android. And I found this to be quite amusing, but also kind of sad because, you never know. Androids can grow to become bigger and stronger and take over human civilization and eventually destroy all humans and... Oh, sorry, wrong film. Anyway, overall, I think this movie was cleverly put together to incorporate all these different ideas and did a pretty good job in reflecting what monism is. Because I will tell you, before watching the movie and understanding it, I had a vague idea of what monism was and didn't think I'd understand. But I think now I have at least a general grasp of the concept, and I hope you do as well. This movie is definitely a good watch, and I'd highly recommend it if you are a sci-fi nerd or feel the need to watch something with more than one worldview. Because believe me when I say, there's a lot of that in this movie. Well, that seems to be the end of this little lecture. I hope you enjoyed that, or are able to find some sort of takeaway from this presentation. For remember, as Obi-Wan once said,
The Force will be with you, always.